Chapter 2 Midnight Marauder. Midnight cooled the desert air. The moon was barely visible through the heavy clouds passing in the sky. A few stars showed through. Shema went to bed early that night. She laid for almost an hour on her mat, trying to soothe the itch on her arm. She twisted and rolled around, hoping to find some sweet relief or a comfortable position. Finally, she almost drifted to sleep when she suddenly felt a weight on the end of her mat. She opened her eyes, expecting to find Mustafa or Omar trying to wake her up, but in the dark of night she could not see anyone. Shema quickly sat up. Her long hair bounced down her shoulders. Her groggy eyes squinted. A large cat perched at the end of the bed. It had bright, blue sapphire eyes which lit up the dark like two stars. "Hey there," Shema whispered, reaching out a hand. The cat let out a low purr and moved toward her. Shema stroked under its chin. Its fur was white and silky to the touch. The cat began to meow. "You want some milk?" Shema asked. She got out of bed, sliding her feet into her sandals, and walked over to the bottle of goat's milk on the counter. She found the bowl Mustafa usually keeps dates in and poured the milk into it, but when Shema turned around, the cat had disappeared. She heard a meow from outside the tent. She slid through the slip and found the cat sitting at the entrance. The moonlight broke through the clouds and bathed it in light. Its blue eyes were glowing bright and its white silky fur sparkled, revealing a dark marking. Shema could not believe it was in the same eye on Shema's arm. Shema froze staring at the mark, but before she knew it, the cat began to run away. Shema quickly started to follow it. She chased it through the center of camp, past the bonfire, and out into the desert. Its white fur glowed just enough Shema was able to see it in the night and never lose track. But it seemed like every time she got close, it would slip right through her hands. Shema was not sure how long or how far they had gotten, but she was determined to catch it. The matching eye had to mean something. She followed the cat into the desert and had completely lost track of where she was. The desert looked endless without the sunlight to guide her home. Instantly, as if it appeared out of the thin air, the cat came to a large temple almost buried in the sand. It was old with long cracks weathered away in the sand brick. Shema came to a halt at the entrance. She didn't realize she had almost run inside. The entrance had a large arch painted in thousands of hieroglyphs, but Shema only noticed the same eye painted everywhere. She froze, feeling a warm gust of wind blowing out of the entrance. "Hello?" Shema called out. "Am I dreaming? I need to go home." Shema turned around. She looked up at the moon, trying to figure out if she should head east or west. Right before she took a step, she heard a loud noise and then a strange animal sound. The cat must be in trouble, she thought to herself. She did not know if she should return home or if she should help the cat. She heard the whimper again. "I need to help him," she said softly to herself. She turned around and walked through the wide opening. The warm air intensified as she walked through the dark hall. She used her ears to hear the cat's cries and find what direction to go. It was a trick Mustafa had taught her, to use all the senses, for your eyes like to play games with you. As the noise began louder, a dim light started to fill the hallway. It came from a large open room with a tall ceiling. Large piles of sand covered the floor and buried most of the room. Hieroglyphs painted on faded gold walls told the story of heroes and guardians reading ancient of an ancient Eden. Shema couldn't translate it, but she felt a part of her understood what the symbols were saying. She scanned the room and found the cat stuck on a ledge high on the wall. It let out another cry for help. Shema hurried over. "You can jump down," she said gently. "Here, I can catch you." Shema stretched her arms up, motioning to the cat, but it only let out a scared meow. She tried to reach for the cat, but was too short. "Just stay put. I'll come to you," she decided. The 15-year-old jumped, grabbing a hole in the wall, where she could grip. She pulled herself up slowly and then cautiously climbed the ledge. Her feet and hands moved for the right spot, so she would be secure. Sweat dripped from her forehead. Shema was lucky that she was athletic. Omar would never have been able to make this climb. Finally, she pulled herself to the edge, where the cat was. Once she secured herself, she moved over to the feline. Its tail was stuck under some rubble. "Oh, you poor thing," Shema said, picking the brick off the tail. The cat purred and climbed down. Shema watched as it skillfully maneuvered down the ledges in the wall. If only it was that easy for me. Shema turned her body around so she faced the edge. She began to lower herself. Suddenly, her right foot missed the ledge. Shema's weight shifted backward. She couldn't catch herself. She fell. Screaming, she shut her eyes in panic. Shema braced her back for a very bad impact. The sand below began to swirl like a whirlpool. Shema could feel her lungs tighten. She couldn't breathe. Her throat started to close as she made impact with the moving ground below. Out of the frying pan, she had tumbled into the fire. The ground twisted and turned into a pool of quicksand, and she was sucked into it. Frantically, Shema tried to pull herself free. Everything Mustafa had told her about escaping quicksand fled her brain, as it grasped for oxygen and she struggled to breathe. With every movement, her lungs screamed for air. She was having an asthma attack. Wrapped completely in the sand, Shema began to feel the itch in her arm again. She suddenly felt the itch all over as if the sand tickled her. Weakening from her closed-up throat and liquid sand in her nose and mouth, Shema tried one more time to move her arms free. She was starting to black out. The quicksand started to spin around. It lifted Shema into the air, moving faster and faster. It crawled up her arms and over her chest. She felt her lungs begin to tickle, a strange scratching feeling, but they were expanding. She could breathe. Shema did not feel scared, but she did feel relief as the itching began to go away. Suddenly, the sand disappeared, and Shema felt herself becoming very tired. Exhausted, mentally drained, Shema laid on the ground of the large, empty room and fell asleep.